Good morning and welcome to Cheche, the show where opinion counts, live on Citizen TV. I'm Udwa Kamimo. Now, Kenyans are angry with their MPs. The reason? Salaries. Every parliament has awarded itself huge increments and generous allowances since 2003. And public outrage has grown as legislators are seen to be already well compensated. But in addition to... we've had an accident here. We'll sort that out during the break. Anyway, but in addition to the previous package that the parliaments have enjoyed, the legislators are targeting the Salaries and Remuneration Commission. And our guest this morning supports that move. Adan Kenyan is the Member of Parliament for Eldas. He's also the Vice Chair of the Parliamentary Service Commission, which looks after the welfare of the House. Also with me, we've got the Cheche panel of Mutegi Njau from Royal Media Services and political analyst David McCulley. Good morning and welcome to Cheche. We'll sort this out during the break. Sir, there is huge public outrage, as I said in the introduction, and growing concern about what appears to be the greed of our parliamentarians. Are you intent on continuing with, reverting to the previous packages, the package that the previous parliament enjoyed?
Yeah, I think first of all, let me correct this misguided approach to this particular issue. First of all, I think it's fair that we understand the legality of what is now before the public. I don't want to concentrate on the issue of whether the members should get the same package as their predecessors used to get, or that should be reduced. The issue at hand right now, which I think Parliament has to grapple with, is the legality of that instrument of gazette notice, that purported gazette notice of first March. And I say this because we have a new constitution, and I know there's a difference between having a new constitution and constitutionalism. One of the things that the Kenyans have jealously fought for over the years is the rule of law. Let's put the salary issue aside. Right. Is that gazette notice a legal instrument that combined an independent, one of the three independent arms of the Republic of Kenya? The answer is no. If you are familiar, in any civilized democracy where there is a rule of law, Constitution provides the anchor for the rule of law.
Right.
And therefore, in the Kenyan context, we have sources of law. We have the Constitution. The next is an Act of Parliament or statutes. The third is delegated legislation. Why I disagree without the salaries issue? Because that has not been my focus. If you have followed, and I have been consistent on this, consistent on the legality of that purported gazette notice.
What does it say?
And this is what I'm coming to. That gazette notice, first of all, under Chapter 15, the Parliamentary Service Commission is one of the independent commissions recognized in the current constitution. Again, if you look at Article 230 and Article 127, the Parliamentary Service Commission has its own functions, and the salary and remuneration, under Article 127, the Parliamentary Service Commission has functions. Under Article 230, the Salaries and Remuneration Commission has also its own functions. And both are in the constitutions, which I'm going to refer to shortly. What that purported gazette notice has done is to usurp, and let me say this, to usurp the functions of other institutions, including the legislature. And I want to refer you again to Chapter 8 and Article 95 and 94, which clearly provides for the functions of Parliament, the legislature. So what she has done is, just using that purported gazette notice of 1st March, she has repealed acts of Parliament, thereby taking over the role of the legislature. She has repealed the Parliamentary Pension Act. She has repealed the Parliamentary Remuneration Act, just by that gazette notice. And you need to ask yourself, is that legal?
I guess what you need to first quickly move into is what does the notice, gazette notice say, before we then come to the substance.
I will use this, that purported gazette notice.
Why do you say purported?
Purported because it's illegal. It's unconstitutional.
It is a notice, standing notice as at now.
That's what I'm saying. You see, and I want to ask, because I want to argue purely from the position of the law.
Yes.
I want to use the word purported Gazette notice because any document that ultraviolates the Constitution is supposed to be disregarded to that extent. To that extent, because all of us are here to follow the rule of law. I want to use the word purported Gazette notice because it contradicts, it's inconsistent with the Constitution, which is our first source of law. It is inconsistent with the provisions of a number of acts of Parliament.
Okay, the question is, what does the Gazette notice say?
What the Gazette notice says, this lady has invoked the provisions of Article 230. Article 230 empowers the Salaries and Remuneration Commission to set the salaries of state officers and advise both the national and county government on the pay package of other public servants. We have close to 700,000 public servants, and we have about 3,816 state officers.
Right.
But it's only the members of Parliament that so far, it's only the members of the salaries and benefits of members of Parliament that so far the Salary and Remuneration Commission has attempted actually to do something. So what that Gazette notice purposed to do, first of all, a number of things. What she has done is...
why are you making it personal? Why do you keep saying what she has done when actually she's the head?
What the Commission, let me say this, what the Commission has done, of course, I'll say the Sarah Serem-led Commission. What the Commission has done is to purport to reduce the benefits and the pay package of the members of Parliament. I do not have a problem with that. But the mechanism, the way that is executed is the modus operandi is what I have a problem with.
Then the question naturally that would follow is what should have been the mechanism, the process?
The process should have been this. That first of all, yes, the Commission is empowered to set the salaries of state officers. What she will have done is, first of all, to consult. And I want to refer you again to Schedule 6 and Section 32, which clearly says, and because again we are trying to implement a new constitution, what you should have done is try to seek professional advice, try to do job evaluation. In this particular context, I can bet that there was no job evaluation to determine the salaries and benefits of members of Parliament.
Okay, fine.
Okay,
yes,
fine. If that is the case, what Parliament should, who interprets the meaning of the Constitution? Is it Parliament? It is the court. Why isn't Parliament or the Parliamentary Service Commission, which you are the vice chairman, go to court and say, hey, Sarah Serem and our group have screwed up the Constitution. So what we need, interpret to us, Mr. Mutunga and the Supreme Court, tell us what that means. Why don't you do that?
Again, I want to refer you to Article 94 of the Constitution, which I have a copy, which clearly says, Article 94 of the Constitution, because this is our reference point. Article 94 of the Constitution clearly spells out the role of Parliament. This is Chapter 8, the Legislature. 94, first of all, 93 says they establish a Parliament of the Republic of Kenya, which shall consist of the Assembly and the Senate. And then 94 says the legislative authority of the Republic of Kenya is derived from the people at the national level and is vested and exercised by Parliament. Parliament manifests the diversity of the nation and represents the will of the people. And exercise. Just the last one.
Yes.
Parliament shall protect this Constitution and promote the democratic governance of the Republic of Kenya.
How does going to court?
I want you to see this. No person, this is where Parliament drives actually its power. Yes. No person or body other than Parliament has the power to make provisions having the force of law in Kenya. Now, what parliamentarians, and this is the bit that actually, this is the bit that is not, it's like we are obsessed with the issue of the salaries and remuneration.
Of course we're going to be obsessed with it.
That is an issue that we'll continue to debate. But Parliament, as one of the critical arms of the Republic of Kenya, cannot purport to sanitize and legitimize an illegality. That Gazette notice as it is right now, and I will tell you why it is illegal. First of all, it has purported to usurp the powers of Parliament to legislate. It has attempted again to create. The Salaries and Remuneration Commission does not have a legislative power. By that Gazette notice, she has, or the Salaries and Remuneration Commission has purported to repeal acts of Parliament. That is supposed to be the preserve of Parliament. What again, if you read Article 124 of the Constitution, Parliament determines its own calendar.
Sir, with respect, hang on, David. With respect, you're making a mockery of Kenyans and you're making a mockery of the Constitution. The Salaries and Remuneration Commission, as you have rightly said, was put in place to advise on the wages of state officers. Now, you're talking to us about legality. Some of your colleagues are talking about now wanting to have themselves removed from consideration as state officers, and we have an economy that cannot sustain the wage bill that is created by a bloated legislature. And you're coming to tell us about legal affairs, which, you know, you're interpreting in your own wisdom or lack thereof, whereas you could, you know, as Mutegi has suggested, go to the Supreme Court, you know, make it a straightforward issue, get legal advice, and be done with this. The issue, you know, for most Kenyans, the Kenyan public, is that consistently since 2003, every parliament has come in and awarded itself huge salaries, huge allowances. That was the first order of business of the 11th parliament. Isn't this holding Kenyans in contempt?
Not really. Again, we need to appreciate the dynamic nature of the Kenyan society. First of all, the members of parliament, and I say this, out of the 700,000 public officers, state officers are less than 3,800. 3,600. What if you look at again the performance of all the parliaments since the advent of multipartyism? Parliament has emerged as one of the critical oversight institutions in the Republic of Kenya. In my opinion, or in the opinion of majority of members of parliament, what the Salaries and Remuneration Commission has done is to demean two critical oversight institutions. If you look at where the Salaries and Remuneration Commission has placed...
In what way have you been demeaned? You've not been asked to work for free?
Let me finish. You have asked a question and I think I have the right to answer. Look at the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, where that commission has been placed in the pecking order of the other independent commissions. Look at where Parliament has been placed. If you refer to the current constitution, in the pecking order, we have the President, we have the Deputy President, we have the speakers, the two speakers, we have the deputy speakers. Now, that is number 6. Between the deputy speaker and the member of parliament is, in the pecking order, is placed at number 43. Ask yourself, who are these other individuals or office holders between number 6 and number 43? That includes the chair of the Salaries and Remuneration Commission, our vice chair, all the other commissioners, entities that otherwise will have been placed way below the member of parliament in the pecking order. If you look at the salaries, the salaries and the benefits that go to the commissioners of the Ethics and Anti-Corruption, and compare the same with other commissioners, again, it's way below. Therefore, the only inference that you can make from this is there is an attempt to kill the two key institutions that oversight public expenditure. That is the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission and also Parliament. And I think she has done through that purported Gazette notice. This is why me as an individual, notwithstanding the salaries issues, I will not, because I took an oath of office to defend the Constitution. If anything ultraviolates the Constitution and other basic principles of law, I have no business, regardless of the public opinion, to purport to support that particular document. And I want to stand here and say today that even before a court of law, none of us has gone to court, that document is an illegality.
But then you go to court and say that the
yes.
court says so.
My work is to legislate. It's not to go to court. My work is to legislate. I will legislate.
Because at the moment you're stalling business. But also, you tell us now that it's a question of legality. In the previous parliament, just last year, you were one of the advocates for this huge send-off package. And so it just seems as if you're reinventing yourself and couching your arguments in what you think will be a more acceptable and palatable point of reasoning.
No. Even there, I was consistent. Look at this. At one time, I was among the youngest members of parliament. And we have had a contributory pension scheme, which anybody is allowed, even as a staff of Citizen radio, newspaper here. You are allowed to participate
Royal Media Services.
Royal Media Services. You are allowed to participate in a regulated and properly managed pension scheme. What the Commission has done is, by that purported Gazette notice, is to say we are not entitled, and this is contributed. I contribute. I've been contributing for the last 20 years. And therefore, by that Gazette notice, she says, I'm not entitled to any pension. What happens to the contributions that I've been making? Isn't that an illegality? Isn't it an infringement on my personal right as an individual? And instead of, this is something that I've been looking forward to say.
Honorable Kenan, I think you are mixing a lot of things here. First of all, let me, for clarity's sake, let me first start by pointing out that there is nothing, pursuant to what Mutegi asked about why you should not go to court. The Parliamentary Service Commission is a commission like other commissions. When the CIC has been offended or actions have been taken that offend the Constitution, the CIC of Nyachai has gone to court to seek interpretation and intervene in the violation of the Constitution. You have a Parliamentary Service Commission, which is, we can say, the employer of MPs. Why can that commission go to the court to seek interpretation of a law or a gazette notice which you believe violates the Constitution and your own Parliamentary Service Commission mandate? Why is that difficult? First of all, that's why I find this blatant abuse of power, because you have capacity to intervene in two ways. You have the court option, but you also have the backhand, the backroom approach of going in to legislate as you wish. Unfortunately, in this case, it is in your self-interest, because the salaries you're talking about are yours. If you are petitioning on behalf of other public officers or state officers, they would have had our sympathies. But the self-interest in this is smoking, is too loud.
Which is why the new constitution was passed.
One. Two, the section, Article 94 of the Constitution that gives or sets up the legislature and gives it the mandate, it does not talk about your welfare issues. It gives you the legislative mandate in the Constitution. And the same Constitution gives the SRC, Serem's Salaries Remuneration Commission, clearly the mandate to set the salaries for state officers. What you need to tell us now is whether parliamentarians are state officers. If you are, then you fall under that mandate. What argument do you have against that?
Actually, I agree with you to the extent that members of parliament, first of all, are state officers. But again, if you read the provisions of Article 230, that empowers the Salaries and Remuneration Commission actually to set the benefits of all the state officers. And also read the provisions of Article 127, which establishes the Parliamentary Service Commission. And I want to read this. If there is any jurisdictional conflict, which the authors of this constitution actually did not foresee, then it's our work. Because it's our work as the users to find a way out of it. One of the key functions of the Parliamentary Service Commission under Article 127 is to provide services and facilities. Services and facilities. And I want to read, it's not my own creation, 127, to provide services and facilities for the well-being of members of parliament and staff.
But that has now been overtaken by the new Constitution 2010, because that existed prior to this Constitution.
It's in the current.
It is in the current. I want you to read here, David. I want you just let me clarify this.
But sir, it goes back to a question of semantics as well.
Let me read. Because this is the bit that is not coming out. One of the functions of Article 127, they establish a Parliamentary Service Commission. If you read 6 of the same, it talks about the functions, the core function of the Parliamentary Service Commission is to provide services and facilities for the well-being of members of parliament and members of staff. This is Article 127.
Go ahead.
Article 230 talks about the Salaries and Remuneration Commission in setting and determining the salaries of state officers. These are two provisions.
Services and facilities and salaries are distinct.
Services and facilities for the well-being of the member of parliament and a member of staff.
Yes.
If I interpret this, it is our responsibility as Parliamentary Service Commission to make sure.
To pay yourself.
Not to pay. No.
Yeah,
I don't want you to answer from.
That's what you're saying.
No. It is the functions, the core function of the Parliamentary Service Commission, as clearly enshrined in Article 127, to make sure the members of parliament get decent facilities and services to enable them to serve their people.
That includes determining your salaries.
Services and facilities could be the gym you have, could be your offices, and the budget of the Parliamentary Service Commission is big enough to accommodate all those other needs, except that the part of salaries and remuneration has been taken out and vested in the Salaries and Remuneration Commission. Why do you want to take that function back? Secondly, isn't it against public interest, really, and natural justice, to want to award yourself salaries, which is the function that was taken out of that deliberately because of our history, of you guys allowing yourself and paying yourselves more? that it was vested elsewhere to deny you that self-help on our national kitty.
Not really. Again, you know, unfortunately, you will excuse me, because for me, I really want to follow the rule of law. We have a very important document.
And you're holding the Constitution
yes,
here,
and this is the Constitution that I took.
Yes, and you have refused to go to the Supreme Court.
Let me tell you this. I took an oath of office to protect this very important document. Let me ask you. And regardless of anything else, my first duty as a legislator, as a state, as a representative of the people of Kenya, and the Constitution and Article 1 clearly says, sovereignty of the people of Kenya shall be exercised through their elected representatives. The other bit.
Yes, Mutegi.
There's something that you said, I think, which requires a response. Yes. For me and a number of my colleagues, the salary issue is a contentious issue, because we are persuaded that the Salary and Remuneration Commission did not carry out any job evaluation. What the Commission did was just to take into account the budget of the 224 former members of Parliament and divide the same to 349, and that is the figure that she got. That is not a job evaluation.
Let me ask you a
very
simple
question. Can I just point out? Let me ask you a very
simple question. Do you think it's logical for anybody to employ himself and pay himself a salary? Is it logical? That's what we're saying, that the Constitution allows you. Is it logical for somebody to employ themselves and award themselves salaries from public funds?
Not
themselves. Is it logical?
Actually,
is it fair?
That is a good question. Let me take you back again. First of all, just like any other job, the job of a member of Parliament was advertised by the Independent and Electoral Commission, the Independent and the Electoral Independent Commission, way back late last year, and the government of Kenya issued a circular to all public and state officers intending to contest to resign 6 months. That is what the Election Act required. 6 months before the election date, and therefore there are a number of Kenyans who resigned. Who resigned from their positions on 6 September. At that time, we knew the package of the Member of Parliament. What they did is they applied for jobs on the basis of what they knew that they were going to entitle to. What the Sahara Serem Commission did in that purported Gazette notice is to put to Gazette the benefits on 1st March, barely 3 days before the general election.
Then those people who resigned.
That is clearly an infringement,
fine.
the right.
Then those people who resigned, or whatever salaries were getting, and they find that they were conned by Sahara Serem because she reduced whatever they expected. Then they go to court. Either they go to court or resign. Say, I don't want this business of MP. Let me go back to where I was. Or go to court and say, look, we were conned, but we expected to get 1 million bob. Now we are getting 500,000. Then they don't go and say, we are now going to pay ourselves.
How do you go to court? You are PS, you are permanent secretary, you resign on 6 September, you have been replaced. Where do you go to?
No, you go to court then.
No, because it's clearly a matter of self-interest.
Yes.
Yeah, and so you have an avenue, which is the legal option.
Yes.
You go to court and say that I applied for this job and won it on the understanding that this would be my salary. And upon taking the job, you know, I found then that it had been reduced significantly, you know, so therefore could the court please rule and either award me the salary that I was expecting or clarify what is going on here.
You don't go and do it.
Actually, the issue is, it doesn't
matter illogical that they should
the issue is in court. The issue is in court. It doesn't matter who has gone to court, and eventually the court will arbiter. But again, the other bit that personally I find it very difficult to accept that purported Gazette notice is, if you look at again, in any civilized democracy, the function of parliament, the order of parliamentarian, is to represent, to oversight, to legislate, and in the Kenyan context right now, to participate in the budget making process.
And to pay themselves.
Not really.
Yeah.
That is your additional...
yes, that's what you've done.
And to pay yourself. Let me say this.
That's what
if you look, let me clarify this. If you look at that purported Gazette notice, what the Commission has done again is to say parliamentarians cannot meet more than 4 times in a week.
Because you were abusing the system.
No, let me tell you this. As we speak right now, the government of President Uhuru has just nominated cabinet secretaries. Within 7 days, Parliament has to go through the entire process, which means in the next few days, even on Sunday, Saturday and Sunday, Parliament has to work. Which is this institution that can really determine how Parliament works? Take again this. Even in the structure of parliamentary office holders, what the Commission has purported to do again is to say that we should only have the following office. Today, the Senate has Deputy Majority Leader, which Sarah Serem's Commission did not take into account. They say that office is not necessary. The Senate has Deputy Minority Leader. Again, if you look at that purported Gazette notice, there's no provision for Deputy Minority Leader. There's no provision for Deputy Minority Whip. Come to the National Assembly, there's no provision for Deputy Majority Leader, Deputy Minority Leader, and Deputy Whip, and Vice Chairs of parliamentary committees. If you look at that, it's clearly, it's unconstitutional.
Okay.
No.
We have to take a break.
No.
It's a very contentious subject, and we're running over time. So we'll pause now and continue the discussion after the break. This is Cheche, live on Citizen TV. The Honourable MP for Eldas and the Vice Chair for of the Parliamentary Service Commission is our guest this morning. He's the Honourable Adan Kenyan. Do keep your thoughts and questions for him coming in on SMS 2442 or tweet Cheche_TV. We're discussing salaries for MPs, so do send us your thoughts.